Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Sentinels, and today we have sneak peek number 4 for Marvel Future Fight's upcoming X-Men event update, and it's a biggie. This time around, we can see Emma Frost rocking a brand new look, which means a uniform is coming for her, but there's a lot more to talk about in the image. There's a lot more to talk about as far as further implications for the character, and also comic book stuff. So I want to get into all of that. Let's not waste any time. First of all, to knock the easy one out of the park for the comics perspective, if you want to read up on where Marvel Future Fight may be drawing some inspiration for this uniform, for the kind of quote-unquote Black Queen Emma Frost, because she's usually known as the White Queen, I recommend you read the Dark Avengers Uncanny X-Men Utopia. Number 1 is from 2009. That's where things really start off, and I don't want to ruin the story for you guys because it's quite interesting, but essentially there are two groups of X-Men, and Emma Frost actually finds herself on the Dark X-Men. They're not actually called the Dark X-Men, but they do end up becoming known as the Dark X-Men because there are people on that, such as Dark Beast, which is kind of like an evil alternate reality version of Beast. And while she doesn't portray a superhero initially, things end up taking turns and twists, and there's all this espionage stuff going on, so it's actually really interesting. And there are a lot of other characters that show up in the comic who aren't who they seem, and you find out this very early on. But for example, one of the Avengers that you think you see is Hawkeye, but it's actually Bullseye dressed up in this uniform. So I actually think it's really interesting that there's immediately a connection between this X-Men update and Emma Frost and one of the most hilariously terrible uniforms you've ever gotten in Marvel Future Fight that was actually really recently released. So I'm not sure if this is just kind of a coincidence or if Netmarble is playing some kind of crazy future chess game that we just cannot see, and they're so light years ahead of us that it's crazy. But yeah, it's either that or they just got dumb lucky. So let me know what you think about that. But as far as the comics, it's really cool, and it's a pretty interesting run as far as seeing characters in different lights and also seeing different versions of the same character. And there's a lot of twists and kind of surprises, so I definitely recommend checking that out. However, in that run, we will have to see if Netmarble does change her around, because as the White Queen, which is traditionally where she gets the moniker from being with the Hellfire Club, she was a villain. However, in the game, she's a superhero. So it is kind of interesting. Netmarble's kind of cherry-picking from different parts of her personality. Now, Emma Frost has been, or not personality, history, I should say. Emma Frost has been a hero in the comics and a villain. She's been both, pretty much straight out. More recently, she's been a hero, but it would be nice to see a switch of allegiance for her, especially since we don't have that many super villains in the game. So it'd be really nice to see that. That's just something that I want rather than something that I expect. However, jumping back to the actual sneak peek, we have a lot more to get to because really interesting. In the image itself, you can see that she's standing on a bunch of rubble, but if you look closer, you can see a fist in the distance, you can see a leg or a foot, and then on the far right bottom corner, you can see a head, and it's the Sentinel head, guys, which is amazing. And if you then look at the text from Mobirum, it says that Emma Frost has been sighted by one of our agents. We had been attempting to contact her for months, and by the looks of it, she disappeared so she could train in peace. It also seems like she's preparing for a big fight. So this could be hinting. Now, I don't necessarily want to guarantee anything because you know how Netmarble is, teasing something huge and then giving us Hawkeye and Loki's uniform. But it is possible that we could be getting a Sentinel-themed game mode in Marvel Future Fight, which would be absolutely amazing. Ever since the X-Men came into the game over a year ago, people have been dying for a Danger Room type survival mode with wave after wave of challenging Sentinels that you can fight your X-Men in and really relive the moments from the X-Men animated show and the movies, and just that classic struggle of these big, giant, dumb purple robots versus a guy with claws, a dude with laser eyes, etc., etc. But furthermore, they could really stand to augment some of the existing game modes we have with a Sentinel-like theme. For example, Villain Siege could very easily be transformed into a Sentinel-themed mission where you have 3 different stages and it goes from easy, where you're just fighting a couple of, level 60 tier 1 Sentinels, to hard, where you're fighting off a gigantic horde of super Sentinels that are, tier 3. And it could actually be a challenging game mode. It could be more rewarding than it is now, and it could be quite thematic and fun. They could also extend that to Shadowland. They could throw in some additional levels, even in between levels, for example, that have Sentinels. And so you could have a random assortment from 1 to 30 of Sentinel levels that pop up, that give you some additional challenges and offer some additional rewards, possibly even X-Gene rewards, which would be awesome. There's really a lot of things they could do with the Sentinels and with a potential game mode, whether it is augmenting an existing game mode or bringing in a brand new game mode. They could have a Sentinel-themed battle world. They could do Sentinel World Boss Invasion. They could have Sentinel World Boss. There's really so many different ways they could take this, but I would just really love to see something like that. My personal guess, or at least my idea, is a legendary battle surrounding Sentinels attacking and the X-Men having to fight them off, because we're probably not going to be getting a X-Men MCU movie anytime soon. They could take advantage of that while it doesn't fit with the rest of them in terms of being a real movie tie-in. It would be really nice. And we've already seen 2 uniforms, one for Magneto, one for Emma Frost. And you know how much Netmarble loves to sell uniforms and tie them getting mythicked to specific rewards that you collect after getting those uniforms. And that's a way for them to sell those uniforms more successfully. Now, with all of that being said, let's quickly jump back to sneak peek number 1. I don't know how much this actually matters, but if you were particularly eagle-eyed, and I totally missed this, the word diamond is actually carved into the billiards table on the sneak peek number 1 for Gambit, which is actually mind-blowing. That's fucking crazy that they put that there and pretty much nobody noticed, because they were basically cheekily pointing out that Emma Frost was going to be in this update, and we just totally missed it, and we totally glossed over that because of Gambit. So, well played, mon chéri. Well played, Netmarble. Little clap for you. Finally, I want to discuss the implications for the actual character herself, because I have been a notoriously outspoken hater of Emma Frost. I don't think she's worth it, and I never tier 2'd her for that reason. I didn't want to spend the additional 2,500 crystals or whatever it is to get her gears up to 20. I don't want to use a mega tier 2 ticket, whatever, garbage. But now we will see the very first uniform for an existing Crystal Wall character. We've had it. Speculation for Adam Warlock, and Emma Frost came after him, and now she's getting a uniform before him. So it'll be very interesting to see how her uniform augments the character. If it's not a uniform that really pushes her status, her damage, her overall power level, then it will be not a power creep, and it will be more of an aesthetic thing for super fans of the character. If the uniform makes her super OP, a la someone like Scarlet Witch, and how her uniform really transformed her, then it will make Emma Frost a must-buy, which is really going to push a lot more crystal purchases onto the player base. And we already have the Magneto pack, and we already have the Psylocke pack, and all these Infinity War uniforms, and then here comes the White Queen asking for some of your sweet, sweet blue gold. So that is something to look out for. Additionally, look out for all the hypocrites out there who said prior to Emma Frost being powerful, man, why should I get Emma Frost? It's not even worth it. We don't need her for any of the game modes. And then if Emma Frost's uniform comes out and she's super powerful, their reaction will be, wow, Netmarble, what the fuck? Why did you make Emma Frost so powerful? Now I have to get her. You're just trying to milk me for money. Well, I mean, which one is it, guys? Do you hate Emma Frost because she's not powerful enough, or do you hate Emma Frost because she's too powerful? You really got to stick to one and, not really flip-flop. But I hope to not see any of that, and I hope that people just accept things for the way that they are. You don't really need Emma Frost one way or another. There isn't any game content that really needs her. I mean, you could make the argument for Ebony Maw, but that's pretty much the only game mode and the only world boss that she can do better than anyone else, better than the majority of characters. And so for one world boss, is it worth it? Probably not, but you can definitely work it. You can put your thing down, flip it, and reverse it. I'll probably be getting her uniform, and I'll probably be getting it to Mythic and getting her tier 2 because I like the X-Men, and if she's badass, all the more. But I won't be doing that until I see how good her uniform is. Logic. Furthermore, I do want to point out that Emma Frost now becomes the #1 target for this exclusive pack. Gotta give it up to Netmarble. They are sneaky as hell. This pack makes total sense because you get Emma Frost, you purchase her once for crystals to get her at 6 stars. You don't have to use the Mega Rank Up ticket, but then you can immediately use the Tier 2 Mega ticket and the Mega Uniform ticket to immediately get Emma Frost maxed out Tier 2 with her new black uniform, all red and mythic. And it's honestly one of the most efficient ways of getting a character's uniform mythic, a la Killmonger or someone like that whose bios are extremely rare and extremely costly to get. If you do not use a ticket or regular tickets on Emma Frost's uniform, honestly, you're kind of doing it wrong. Doing this and getting 160 bios is honestly a horrible idea. It's going to cost anywhere from, you know, like 600 to 900 biometrics to get her uniform to mythic. So there's really no way in hell that it will ever be a good idea to purchase this. Now, of course, that means you actually have to drop real money to get her uniform mythic. Otherwise, there's probably no chance that you're going to be able to mythic her uniform as a free-to-play player, even if you were able to tier 2 her as a free-to-play player by purchasing crystals. It's really hard to say tier 2 free-to-play player. There's a lot of different weird sounds in there, all one after another. So help me find a new way to refer to the FTPs. But that is pretty much all of the information and all of the speculation and all of the kind of implications I can see from this uniform and for this update. It's shaping up to be pretty huge, I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of stuff to see and possibly do with a new game mode potentially coming down the pipeline. I really am curious what you guys have to say about Emma Frost. I am going to be ignoring most of the whiny people who just are upset that she's not free. There is also the tiny small possibility that they will give Emma Frost bios as part of some sort of event post-update. And again, it's extremely small. However, when they introduced a uniform for Colossus with the Deadpool Epic Quest, they did add a way to get his bios, they did add a way to get his bios through shifters. That way it was not totally paywall in terms of upgrading his uniform. Still takes forever because you get like 6 bios a day, but it's definitely better than 0. So let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know what you're expecting from Emma Frost and from the rest of this update. Who can we expect from perhaps the Dark X-Men team like Namor or Mystique or possibly Dakin looking like Wolverine, even Cloak and Dagger are on that team. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me. Hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.